screen. Or like the windows.
Do you see my mouse?
Yep. Yep.
Can you tell me if I'm on the X or the maximize?
You don't have a pen, do you?
I do.
Good thing we're not like super famous though.
Yeah, right. Well, if we were super famous, we'd be super famous.
Right, yeah. Got Jake over here.
Okay. So we're set, I think, right?
Okay. Are we live?
We're live.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna write this down real quick.
Okay.
Alright.
We had 2 viewers, we're down to 1.
Ready?
Alright.
Hey plebs, welcome to the respawn point.
Welcome to your second respawn. Back so soon?
Oh, look at him just laying there. Pathetic.
Today we'll be covering topics from Battlefront 2 at Gamescom to patch notes for ARC and a lot of other news. We're your hosts, Elias Christensen and Nick Berry.
So Elias, how has your Monday been?
It's been pretty good. Busy. We had the solar eclipse today. I got some pictures on my camera. Did a little bit of setting up for this, and we just finished a new build for our PC. So a little bit of cleanup after that process. We did a quick build, but dude, I was tired. Like,
Yeah?
my back hurt after last night. I think like these chairs still have like back support,
No back support.
and we were working at a weird angle. But
Gonna
yeah.
work on that.
yeah.
All right, awesome. Well,
How about you? How was your Monday?
on my Monday, it was okay. I had to go back to work. I had to wake up at around 5:45, and I had to drive half an hour to work, and then I did some hard labor, and
That sucks.
and then I got home and I had to get ready for the show. So I scrambled. I watched the live stream for Battlefront at lunch, and I took down some brief notes. Then when I got home, I did a little bit more in depth. But yeah, so just about ready. Just to go over real quick, we're a show that covers your favorite games, our favorite games, and we will give you all the up-to-date information and opinions on those said games. So we can go right into what we've been playing. Why don't you go first, Elias?
I'll go first? Okay. So I got into Battlefront since the last podcast. I started playing because
First time.
Yeah, first time player for Battlefront. I mean, I played the original series a little bit as well, and I played a PSP game, Rogue Squadron, which was really fun. It was different than I expected because the like you talk about like getting different star cards and stuff at different times and seeing it actually takes a decent amount of play to get into hot contracts, and you gotta reach level 12, and yeah, just a little harder to get into than I necessarily initially suspected, because even in like my heyday of like console shooters, even though Battlefront's a PC game, it still reminds me a lot of like Call of Duty a little bit. You could get the FAMAS in Black Ops right off the bat, and it's the best weapon. Like, and I just haven't found that, or it was for me. That could be a controversial statement, but I mean, I haven't found that with Battlefront. But the sinking levels are so huge and sweeping. It's a pleasurable game for me to play, whether or not I'm winning. Yeah, so I'm excited to get into a little bit more of the contracts and achievements and.
Well, you only have a couple more months before the second one, so
yeah.
before
Better
before
get to work.
you'll never get to play it again. And it won't be worth playing it.
Yeah, yeah. I also got a little bit into Dirt 4. I bought it back during the Steam Summer Sale. I didn't open it up until like a week and a half ago. And they have a decent amount of improvements over Dirt 3. I didn't play Dirt Showdown, so I don't know if some of this was in there. But they have a semi-automatic transmission. I always play racing games on automatic transmission because manual's a lot more work to keep track of.
Yeah.
So the semi-automatic allows you to just drive the race, but if you find a section where you're like, oh, I better downshift, or you have some control, and then even like a couple seconds after you make that turn or whatever, it'll automatically resume upshifting for you as you're getting on the gas.
That's kind of
really
neat.
like that. Yeah, there's heavy fog effects, like so you can't see more than like 100 feet in front of you on some levels, which was a pretty interesting experience for rally racing.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. There's water patches. What I got out of it is that it's striving for more of a simulator feel than Dirt 3 was. Because there's even sections of it where you have to hire your crew. And there's like, if you ever played MLB, or like a game like that, where like you pay for improvements to your stadium and you do there's a lot more parts like that where you can tune your car so specifically. Like toe in, toe out on the wheels, how heavy your brakes are, way more than Dirt 3. So it's pretty cool, but again, could be a big time suck if I let it be.
All right, yeah.
Other than that, I played a bunch of Overwatch and I got Place Diamond and Lucio Ball. So that's pretty much
pretty solid.
I should stop playing Overwatch now. What about you? What'd you get to play this week?
So played some Battlefront with you. I hadn't played in like a long time actually. Almost forgot how OP some things are in that game. For example, like the EE4. It's almost like a shotgun, but it's not. Mm-hmm. It's still a blaster, but it shoots really fast.
Yeah.
And we went up against that one team, and literally almost every player was using that gun. And it was very frustrating because it felt like, and they weren't hacking. You could tell. Like I can tell when someone's hacking, and I'm 90% sure they weren't. And it was just frustrating because every time. It didn't matter if like you were at medium range or close range. It was like you would just get. I don't know, it didn't feel good because it didn't feel like they were actually good players. But besides that, I jumped into some Overwatch. Didn't play too much. I played, Doomfist is still out. Controversial topic right there with if he's too overpowered, he's fine. He's too new.
Yeah. I think he is new, but even first playing him, I thought. So, some of these things could be tuned down a little bit. Yeah.
So, and we'll get into that in the news a little bit. There's some tweaks there.
Yeah.
The only other notable thing, because I was on vacation last week, so I haven't been around too much, but me and my wife played a game called Overcooked on PS4. Okay. And it's like a party game. You're basically this little chef, and you have to cook up dinner meals. It's almost like Diner Dash, but think like you have a little bit more control. So you have to like make the different recipes for the dinner meal, and then chop up lettuce or tomatoes, make the meal, then serve it. Mm-hmm. And it's up to 4 players. So I imagine if like there's all 4 of you, and you're going all crazy, it'd be pretty fun.
I could see that. Yeah, that sounds.
So
fun.
we had fun with it, but that was the only other thing that I had.
Yeah.
So we can jump right into the news then. Overwatch. There's some new PTR things. The biggest thing is deathmatch and team deathmatch. And that comes along with a new map called Chateau Gillard. That's my really bad attempt at that name. It's set in the setting of France. It looks really cool. I haven't been able to play any of it. It's on the PTR. I currently don't play on the PTR. But it looks really cool. I've heard really good things about it. The inside. And I guess the biggest difference between this and other maps is that it's made for the deathmatch.
Yeah,
or team deathmatch.
Yeah.
And so there's no like surrounding. You're basically on this like house with water all around you. So it's a much different setting. But
I think I saw a video about that, and it's interesting because that's supposed to be Widow's family home, because that's her maiden name, I guess, is Gillard. And so, and just hearing like it's inside of like a castle or something like that reminded me of a lot of Quake maps. I never played Quake. I played Unreal Tournament, but I watch a channel on YouTube that has a guy who's played Quake for 18 years. Yeah, I just remembered that. You want to get the air conditioner? Thanks, Nick. Um, that's bad for the audio. By the way, hi Strashka, howdy. I can't read your name. Sorry. But yeah, they said that they made it specifically for deathmatch, and deathmatch was a huge Quake mode, and a lot of their levels are set in like castles and stuff. So it made me think of that. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah. All right, let's jump right into the different characters. This is like probably gonna run a little long. A lot of stuff to cover with Battlefront, but we want to make sure we got the news for our other games that we care about. So first, character Junkrat. He got a little bit of internal playtesting that they told us about, and then right after that, his changes were on the PTR.
Okay.
So the biggest thing was his concussion mine. He can now have 2 mines. They're kind of like a recharge system, so you can recharge and hold up to 2 mines at once now. So with that, technically, you can place one on the ground, let it recharge, jump up to the air, and then do it twice more and get like a triple jump.
Oh wow. Nice.
So it is possible. The biggest thing with that is you may think, okay, that's like, because the damage is the same, that it hasn't been reduced, so you may think, okay, that's a little strong, but you can't throw 2 mines out at once. You can only do one, detonate it, and then another one. So it could still be strong. You can still do a lot of burst damage, but it's not like you can put two down at once and it blow them both up at the same time.
Yeah. There's a time in between.
Yep. And then the other thing is Riptire, which can be controversial. A lot of people think it's the worst ultimate in the game. At higher level, because higher level people, they know like, okay, just shoot it, and
yeah.
But the movement speed has been increased by 30%, and there's no longer a time limit when climbing walls.
That's nice. I could see that helping in certain levels, maybe not all, because it'll stay out of sight longer, more than likely. Yeah, I think in lower levels, like where I am, it's a pretty OP ultimate.
Yeah. Well, no, because I remember like when we first played the game, it was like, dude, this thing is stupid. Like, it just comes at you, can't do anything, and it kills you.
Yeah.
But as you get a little bit better, you kind of know, like, okay, like you hear it. Sometimes it can
you can hear it from forever away.
But like if a whole team knows and they're all aware of it, they can shoot it. And kill it almost every time. You have to be, as a Junkrat player, you have to be a little bit better and come from above, because it's more silent that way, and sometimes you won't know it's there.
Oh, okay.
So a little back and forth there.
These Orisa changes look really good. I just started playing Orisa, and I used to be an anime, and never mind they synchronize, because her supercharger, I forget exactly what the name of the skill is, but basically the thing she puts down, everybody gets a damage boost, synchronizes with or stacks with Anna's nano boost. So I'm super excited. If someone's already taken Anna, I'm definitely going Orisa. But her fusion driver projectile speed was increased by 20%, and her protective barrier size has increased by 20%, which that seems OP.
Yeah.
But barrier shape has been changed to allow for more coverage from enemies that are below the barrier. So they're extending it even farther back.
So the thing to note is that the barrier is no longer as it's not as wide. It's still it's still, but it's an overall growth. But I don't think it has really grown wider. If anything, it's actually a little bit shorter, but it's taller now.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a big change, because along with her recent buffs in the past with the cooldown, you can put that thing down and you can refresh it before it dies usually.
Yeah.
So it can be really strong when you're just holding a point, or you can slowly push a point, because you have it up all the time, and now that's bigger. Oh, it's even more protection.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty OP buff, because people already have issues with her. I mean, well, people complain about everything, but
my biggest problem is that she has a strong kit. She is effective. I would say Blizzard did a good job of making a good second tank, like if you don't want to play with Reinhardt or something in a different situation, Orisa is really good. For me though, I don't enjoy playing her.
Okay.
Like, I find her kit I find the kit okay, but as a character design, like, I can't connect with the character. So to me, it's not as fun to play her just because
okay.
I
Yeah.
can't make that connection.
Yeah, they give the character so much personality that sometimes it's in your brain it becomes a limiting factor.
Right.
But that's part of the fun of the game.
Yeah. So next up is Roadhog. He's been another controversial person.
Mm-hmm.
But his take a breather, so his heal, can now be used while moving, and the damage taken while healing has been reduced by 50%. So, don't want to get into this too much, just because we could talk a long time just on his hook and the changes and all that. So, but what I want to point out though is that with that, if he is at least 501 health,
Mm-hmm.
and if he's taking a breather, he can survive a Diva ult. Because Diva's ultimate does 1,000 damage.
Okay.
And if he's at least one over 500, it will be reduced by 50%, so it'll do 500 damage. So that's something to note. If you're playing as Roadhog and you see Diva ult, it's almost just like, I'm just going to stand right in front of this and take it because I can.
I think they're trying to make him a little bit tankier because of the damage reductions he had.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. It's going to be a more consistent, non-bursty damage. Which we had talked. I think we talked about it last time. Those changes were rumored. We didn't have them like official, and we mentioned like the same thing happened to Gragas in League of Legends.
Yeah,
like almost the exact same. Instead of having to stop to take his heal, he could do it while walking. So similar sort of play design going on there.
All right, let's do these a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Next up is Widowmaker. Her grappling hook. The cooldown has been reduced from 12 seconds to 8, so a lot more mobility going on there. Next thing, her Venom Mine. If you step on it as an enemy, you will now be seen. So for Widowmaker, if an enemy steps on it, you can see them through walls now.
Oh,
so
okay.
you can. It's a little more predator like hunt down. You can see where they are.
Yeah.
You can.
That's not only enabled during your ult.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's nice.
So a little bit extra vision there.
A little bit. Her ult, I think, was underpowered. I think it could have. I mean,
yeah.
I guess it depends.
It depends.
Doomfist Rocket Punch hitbox was reduced.
So this is actually not on the PTR yet, I don't believe.
Okay.
But it's part of the internal testing that they have said, and what it's gonna be on the PTR. I don't think it is yet. So you could complain if you like Doomfist. Well, this is a nerf too soon. It's too big. Actually, no, it is on the PTR.
It's on the PTR.
Forgive me. Yes.
Okay.
It is on the PTR. So some people have thought it's too much of a nerf, it's too soon, people don't know exactly how to counter him yet or play optimally against him.
Yeah.
But I think it goes into that, you can one-hit kill with his Rocket Punch, and that was something they were trying to avoid with Roadhog. So it's almost like, well, you nerf Roadhog, and now you have a new champion that can one-hit.
Yeah.
The counter argument to that, I would say, is that with Roadhog, there's no risk involved in trying to hook someone.
Yeah.
There's no risk whatsoever.
Whereas diving.
Whereas Doomfist, he's basically diving. So
yeah,
you could say that's the exchange. So
yeah, no, that makes sense.
So we'll keep an eye on him and see how that works. So the last one, which was actually just announced today, breaking news, Diva, which is my main. So this is interesting for me because I don't know exactly how it's going to work out. But the internal testing, which is not in the PTR yet, definitely, the defense matrix duration has been reduced by half. So, or it drains 50% faster.
Yeah.
But either way, it's only half the time as live.
Yeah.
And she can now, this is another big thing, she can now use her fusion cannons while using her boosters. So they said it could help with, trying to counter or target a Pharah. You can fly into the air instead of just doing nothing to her.
Yeah.
You can shoot her while flying. And then the biggest thing is that she has a brand new ability called Micro Missiles. And the description, Diva launches a long salvo of small missiles that explode on impact, dealing damage in a small radius around them. And this ability can be used while using her other abilities or firing her fusion cannons. So, in a way, it's a buff to her offensive abilities and a nerf to her defense. So, it's tricky because her defense matrix is such a staple to her character design, especially now ever since they reworked it way back when. So it's a little different. You probably can't eat up a whole ultimate anymore from like Reaper maybe or Pharah. You have to time it way better now.
Yeah.
And even certain things you're not gonna be able to block every damage. You're gonna have to be way more selective with, okay, maybe I wanna just pop it up real quick to block a fire strike from Reinhardt or something. So be more selective, but it's interesting. You can use this new ability while using her fusion cannon. So you have to think, her offensive is going to be a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll definitely be a little more scared.
So we'll see. This is just internal playtesting, so we'll see when it goes to PTR and see how it plays out.
All right.
But,
next point.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So Overwatch is also getting another map, Junkertown. It's based in the Australian outback, where Junkrat and Roadhog are from. Now I don't know what type of map it is.
It's going to be more of almost like a scrapyard, junkyard type, maybe desert feel.
And what's the objective going to be? Is it going to be a?
So this has been data mined from certain files, and there was actually an audio clip, and it said, welcome to Junkertown with the announcer's voice, the female announcer voice.
Okay.
So pretty much that's confirmed basically.
Okay.
But the rumor is, or the speculation is that it'll be a payload map.
Okay.
Because we haven't gotten a payload map since the game came out. We've gotten 2 CP.
Yep.
I think we've gotten 1 CP with a payload, but not from the beginning.
Okay. Yeah. And we also got the moon. Moon.
Yep.
Base.
And that was 2 CP.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. So that's the speculation. I would love that. I would love another payload map because because Eichenwald, which came out I think it was at BlizzCon.
Okay.
And that's a 1 CP with the payload after that.
Yeah.
So we haven't gotten a true payload from the first point.
Okay.
So interesting. Keep an eye out for that one. As you guys know, Summer Games is out. Probably won't talk about this too much, but there's 7 new legendary skins. One for Reaper, Soldier, Mercy, Widow, Junkrat, Sombra, and McCree. So nice. I think it ends on the 28th. So if you haven't gotten those skins, play.
Have you gotten any skins?
No.
You haven't gotten any?
No.
I feel so bad.
I haven't. No.
I got Cote d'Azur, Widow, Sombra, and McCree.
Oh well, the Sombra one's interesting.
Yeah,
looks pretty cool.
I showed Cooper, one of our friends, friend of the show, Lifeguard McCree, and he's like, "So Graves." He's like,
"Yeah,
this is Graves' summer skin for a pool skin, pool party skin,"
Yep.
and I was like, "Yep." I was like, he has a flash too.
His you're right. Yep,
yeah.
flashbang. Yep, basically the same character.
Basically.
Okay, so that's awesome. Summer Games is fun.
Yeah.
We mentioned that you've been playing Lucio Ball and all that.
No, I sort of want them to keep it around. It's a fun game mode. I guess it doesn't really make sense because playing it, I was like, because it obviously is a lot like Rocket League.
Yeah.
Playing it, I was like, I wonder if I'm good at this because I played Rocket League, or just not a lot of people are playing. Because each night I play, I match up with the same people. like I have a couple guys that I know on there. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's skip down to we actually have some news on Middle Earth: Shadow of War.
Yep.
This was announced maybe a week ago. I found it. It was announced that Shadow of War will have microtransactions, similar to Battlefront. So it's definitely seeing a trend here with modern games. But it's not gonna be loot boxes. It's not gonna be loot crates. It's gonna be loot chests. Okay.
Yeah.
So
you gotta keep it period accurate.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're gonna find in these loot chests is experience boosts and war chests. So loot chests contain different weapons and armor with different rarities. Okay. Again, another another thing like Battlefront.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. So war chests contain arc followers. If you don't know, this game is more build your army of orcs.
Yeah.
And then siege castles.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a pretty cool mechanic because I have been playing a little bit of Shadow of Mordor recently as well, and that's like very, very Batman, take everyone down from the inside, and a lot of stealth you're using. But this,
If you want.
yeah,
That's
if
what's
you
great.
want, yeah, you can just brawl through it and do whatever you want. Yeah, that is what's great about it. So with the new game and with these microtransactions, you're going to possibly be able to get orc followers with different rarities, which is interesting. So you're going to be able to get different levels of commanding officers, or however you would put it.
So here's the thing. You can purchase all three, so that being loot chests, experience boosts, and war chests with in-game currency. Mm-hmm. So that's key.
Yeah.
Or with gold, which is found throughout the game, or buying it with real money. So that's where the microtransactions come in. You can buy gold, which you can then use gold to purchase those three things. But you can get gold by playing the game. It'll just be a lot less.
Yeah.
Obviously, that incentive to actually want to spend real money. So it's similar to Battlefront. You can unlock everything just by playing the game, but if you don't have a lot of time, or you just want different rarities, or you want to speed up that process, you can use real money. It saves time.
Okay.
So it's interesting there. I like the first game. It seems promising.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to touch on the ARC news?
Yeah, we'll touch on the ARC news before we jump back to Battlefront 2, because that's our big topic of the week. So I was waiting to put down some stuff for ARC, because they're getting ready for the August 29th release. And they did a community crunch last week or 2 weeks ago, and it literally had no news in it. And we're all like waiting. But then they like burst it out. In the past week, there was like two official updates and a bunch of rumors. Okay, so to start with it, they had leaked the Arc Otter page, and I haven't even gotten any playtesting with this, but basically it's going to be another shoulder mount, so small creature typically, but it's going to warm you, so you'll be able to wear it. You could possibly sub out a fur top for a riot top if you want to be a little bit more durable but still work up in the north, and can harvest pearls from fish. So if you kill a fish, it can harvest it. And there's I don't think it's going to be every time, but there's a chance of finding a pearl or black pearls, which is even more valuable, because now there's people have found a way to farm regular pearls. We got like 30,000, I want to say, in a day on an angler. So there's like, if you can get a good angler, you're fast enough in the sea, you should be able to get as many pearls as you need. But black pearls, it's going to be a great tame for low level people that want to make experience potions, because you need black pearls for that. So I'd say it's an early tame, not your first, but definitely a early mid game tame you'd want to pick up. Also, what's rumored, I don't think these are live yet, but tech sword, shield, and flashlight potentially all coming in the future. Like I said, I haven't even gotten to tech myself. I have allies that have, but so I haven't played around with any of that. I haven't even driven the tech Jeep. I should just jump in single player and start playing with that. At launch, we're getting, or possibly even now. No, I think it's live now. Thanks, Spencer. Nice mustache to you too. But Ragnarok's getting an expansion definitely before launch. That's going to be as big as the island. Just the expansion to Ragnarok, it's about a quarter of the map is as big as the island. So this map is about 4 times the size of the island, if not bigger. And there's going to be a lot of environment biomes even just in that one area, which makes sense. It's as big as the island. Titanoboas are now tameable, and you have to lure them with fertilized eggs. So I think obviously size of egg brings, or size and rarity brings along how quick you would tame them. I'm pretty sure. I haven't looked at the exact numbers. I'm thinking that this is going to lead us into the Kibble Tree rework. I'm even thinking that they could have a favorite egg, which possibly Caprasuchus, because they live in the same environment, because currently we still have no use for Caprasuchus kibble. Their eggs just go to waste. Then also the Phoenix has been announced. Not out yet. I think it's coming to Scorched Earth, but I could be wrong. Could be on Ragnarok. It makes sense that it would go to Ragnarok because they have griffins over there. But exciting update with that. It'll be a new mount that people will race towards. I don't think it's going to be that necessary. What can it do? Oh, it can warn people. Oh no, wait. Actually, it's super useful. Now that I remember, it's a mobile furnace, so you can smelt metal on it if you want to, or make gasoline. Similar to the Beaver, which is a mobile smithy. So those are two nice mid-game items you could have, because even if you get wiped, you still have a furnace, so you can start smelting metal immediately if you can keep it safe. The other thing, this past week they did an update, and probably the biggest thing out of it is turrets can now target riders of animals. So there's no more people riding in on a Carbonomy trying to get close to your base with C4. I think that's probably the best change they've made to the game in months. They did say that they fixed some underworld glitches, like people being able to go under the world and get into your stuff.
Right, yeah.
But that's not what I've heard from my friends, that there's still an issue. Our ally actually had somebody drive a boat into his ice base. It's one of the more popular spots. So that glitch is still going on, but I'm sure they're working on it. Then the other thing is tomorrow, the servers that are going to be getting taken down immediately before launch will be announced. All the data will be saved, though, so if you want to bring it to a single player or a hosted server, you can, if you still want to keep playing that specific server with your friends. So also that probably is going to give us some idea of which servers we may want to... You can start picking your server number where you want to go.
Okay.
In addition to that, you'll know which servers are staying legacy. So if you want to keep playing, you don't want to move, you'll know whether or not you're safe. So...
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to let's switch it up to more Battlefront. We know obviously there's a lot of news on that today. So if you don't like Battlefront, too bad. So we'll take it a little bit slower, and then we'll take it head on to the main topic of what we learned today at Gamescom. But a little news update from over the past week or two. And over on Twitter, EA started to release pictures of the classes. Certain screenshots of the troopers. We saw things like the assault class for the First Order trooper, snow trooper.
Mm-hmm.
We got confirmation of the flame trooper for a reinforcement for the First Order, which is awesome. If you've seen The Force Awakens, you know what that is.
Yeah.
The B2 rocket droid. If you don't know what that is, it's a super battle droid, but he has a jetpack.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool. Every day they released something new, which was awesome to see. Just new screenshots, something new, because they kind of went silent after EA Play, which is understandable. Dennis Brandval is, which is the associate editor. I'm gonna mess that up, but if you don't know who Dennis Brandval is, well, just Google it. He went on Twitter and he answered a couple questions from the community. Questions like, will we see hero introductions making a return? His response was, it depends on the game mode.
Okay.
So that's interesting. Will Death Troopers have their scrambled voices from Battlefront for Battlefront 2? His response was absolutely. He says it makes him feel evil as hell.
Okay.
Was his exact words. So that's cool. I know people love that. I wasn't a big fan of it in Rogue One. People got mad at me on Reddit for saying that. Downvoted. But that's okay. Question like, was the heavy swing ability for like Luke and Darth Vader gonna make a return? He said not as an ability, but heavy swings will of course be part of their attack chains.
Okay.
So if you've seen like Rey or Darth Maul, when you attack, they kind of have like a combo that they automatically do. So I'm assuming maybe you'll have like one or two light attacks, and you'll finish off with like a heavier swing attack, or something of that sort.
That'll be like part of their lightsaber form, like a
Exactly.
natural. Yeah, that
Exactly.
seems cool.
That'd be cool if you could change their form.
If you could change form.
I doubt we'll see that.
Some people do know multiple forms, but typically most people just master one.
That's true.
But I could understand if Luke or not Luke, Anakin / Vader had different forms.
Yeah.
Because,
well, we're hoping Anakin is in the game.
Yeah, he's not confirmed for the game, but if he was, I could see him having a different combo.
Yeah, definitely. Because he's, Anakin on the light side is more agile, whereas Darth Vader, obviously, because he has robot limbs.
Yeah, that factors into it too. But he was also turned down for Juyo for the Form 7 that Mace Windu knows. He asked to, and Mace was like, nah.
Right, yeah. Because I'm pretty sure that's the form where you're basically channeling the enemy's power.
Yeah.
And that's why he was able to fight Sidious.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different topic, but...
Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have...
No. So,
but yeah, it makes sense why they would have different combos.
Yeah. But so that's cool.
Yep.
I didn't like that ability in the last game because it was almost like a filler ability,
Okay.
Like, okay, you press this button, but all it does is make him do a swing attack. Like, that's not that cool.
Yeah.
Like, so not as cool as doing like a force push or it was like a force choke or something.
So this implementation makes way more sense.
So as we get closer to launch, we're gonna see their abilities and we'll see what changes. I would still assume Luke will have a force push and Darth Vader will have like force choke, but it'll be interesting to see what that third ability is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They're saying we're quiet again, so I'm guessing I could adjust it in OBS. But let us know if that works, guys, please, and thank you.
Okay. So, did he answer anything else?
Will we see the 501st Legion?
Yes. So his response was, can't confirm anything yet, but I know players want to customize their clone troopers. So it's an interesting topic. For me, it's hard to form an opinion, honestly, because you either have really cool customization where you can pick, your Legion, maybe your paint markings, maybe if you want to look a little bit dirtier or not. It's kind of tricky. You could have that as customization, but when it comes to Star Wars, it's hard because do you want things to be 100% authentic?
Yeah.
Or do you want to give players...
Because a lot of those markings, not all of them, but a lot of them designated their role.
Exactly. So, like, for an example, like, I'm pretty sure the 212th Legion was the Legion that went to Utapau in Episode 3 with, like, the yellow and orange markings.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, would it make sense for them to be on, like, a Episode 1 map as Theed? Like... Because if we have the power of being able to customize in that way, we'll see everyone will look different.
Yeah.
We'll have... So, it's hard to interpret...
We don't want diversity. No, just kidding.
No, well, it's hard to interpret what he means by that because they said that for the last game, okay, we're going to give you customization, but what we got was, okay, you can change your head.
Yeah.
Like...
That's something that threw me for a loop when I was playing this past week. Because there's like, oh, customize your character. And I'm like, how? I can't. It won't let me. It's just let me change their helmet. But so, okay. That makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, so... For the new game... Because Dennis has already also said that... Because there's Phase 1, which we saw in Episode 2, and there's also Phase 2 Clone Troopers.
Mm-hmm.
They look a little bit different. Phase 2 looks more closer to Stormtroopers, because, they're kind of making that transition... when they made the movies. So he's already said that Phase 1 will be on Kamino because at that time we had Phase 1.
Yeah.
So if he's saying that, but he's also saying we're going to get customization, my thought is that it's not going to be as deep as you think.
Yeah, we're probably going to be able to the same degree that like Rex and others from the 501st had their own individual markings, you could still tell they were a 501st officer. Yeah. So that's probably what it's going to be limited to.
Because that would be cool. Would be cool to get certain maybe armor things or shoulder pads maybe.
Yeah.
But you're still part of that Legion. You can identify, okay, this clone belongs on this map, but maybe there's certain things that make him unique.
Yeah.
Because we all want customization. It's just hard in a Star Wars universe where things are the way they should be.
Yep.
So it's not like Halo where literally they can create anything they want.
Yeah, I agree with you. It should be limited.
Yeah.
Because that's a big part of the game for me. It's pleasurable to play because it looks great.
Yeah, exactly.
Period accurate. Yeah.
So, customization, authenticity, we'll see. My guess would be limited.
Yeah.
But
I think so.
Hopefully more than just changing your head.
Yeah.
I think that wraps it up for the news of the past couple of weeks. We can dive straight into the discussion of the week. So If you're just joining the show, welcome. We're going to jump right into the main topic of Battlefront 2 at Gamescom. All the latest news, what you need to know when it comes out in November.
Yep.
So I think the first thing that we should go is start with the trailer and work from there to the live stream. Because if you didn't know, the trailer was actually released on Saturday because people, mostly people on Reddit, were able to find the leak of the ad, which was 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer was around 130 seconds, a little over 2 minutes, but the ad was 30 seconds. So my guess is that once the ad was leaked, a lot of the developers were upset because it was their hard work, and they weren't able to show that at the live stream or at Gamescom like they had planned. So I think they went ahead and just released it on their official Twitter on Saturday.
Yeah.
So we already knew what the trailer was, but some of the things from the trailer that we can find is we have 5 space maps or maps for Starfighter Assault, which is flying. So we have the Unknown Regions Resurgent Star Destroyer, which is part of the sequel trilogy. We have Endor Death Star debris, so after the second Death Star exploded. Fondor, which is what the live stream was.
The live stream was, yeah.
And then a big confirmation was Ryloth, Lucrehulk battleship. If you don't know what that is, that's from the Clone Wars. It was a big, important battle during the Clone Wars. It was an important campaign. Mm-hmm. And Ryloth is the homeworld of the Twi'leks, which is, they have a weird hair-looking thing.
Ahsoka.
Yeah, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yep. So, or if you're not familiar with the Clone Wars, Episode 6, the green chick that used to be Jabba the Hutt slave.
Yeah.
So, if you're more of a movie buff, there you go. And then the last one is Camino Research Outpost. So, Camino Research Outpost was the only one that actually wasn't in space. It was in the atmosphere of the planet.
Yeah, but,
Yeah. So, I saw someone on Reddit say, oh, well, maybe Galactic Assault will be a mix of flying, and then the second stage will be where they're infiltrating the clone facility. Mm-hmm. I hope this is not the case, because if I'm playing ground combat, I'm in Galactic Assault, I don't want to be flying.
Yeah.
Plus, it'd be hard to transition from flying to ground seamlessly, because the loading screens for the DLC in last game were awful in a game mode. So I don't think that will be the case. I think it'll just be there'll be certain maps that will be atmospheric. And I think that's kind of cool. It'll be cool flying above the facility, and maybe even you can see the clones fighting on the ground. That would be pretty cool.
I'm not like by no means like a simulator buff, but I could even see myself, and this is like a weird thing, but like I can see myself preferring to use a controller if I'm flying a ship than if I'm on ground combat. Then yeah, I'm gonna use the mice and keyboard for first-person shooter stuff.
No, I was actually thinking about this today while I was watching the live stream. Like when we have all the guys over and we do have our big game party for when Battlefront 2 launches, I'm gonna bring a controller because if we do flying maps, it's because I played the closed alpha and the controls are better than the first game, but it's still really hard. And if you took a close look at the live stream, they were playing on console.
Yeah,
and a lot of those guys are PC players. So I mean, that could be just what EA and DICE decided to do or have their game on.
What they provided it for at the time.
But EA Play was PC.
Yeah.
So interesting. I'm gonna try to play on a controller, just because for flying.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try it on keyboard as well.
It's way easier.
But I bet it's easier on.
Yeah. Okay. So next thing from the trailer are all of the hero starfighters that are confirmed. We have Yoda. That's right. Yoda's Jedi Starfighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I was like, he's a ship?
So, if you're a movie buff, think Episode 3 Anakin and Obi-Wan Starfighter.
Yeah.
The more of like, the Episode 3 design with like the wings at the end. So Yoda has his own. It has green, accent colors.
Yeah.
Of course. So from the trailer, it looks exactly the same, but it's Yoda's. And if you didn't know, Yoda flew, it's part of the Clone Wars. So that is canon. It's part of the universe. Yoda did have his own starfighter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how else did he get to Dagobah?
Yep.
I mean, you don't know where it is, but he had to get there somehow.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on. We have Darth Maul's Scimitar, which he also has a starfighter, yes. Luke's Red 5 from the last game. We have Poe's Black 1 X-Wing,
Yep.
which is interesting because does this mean Poe is a ground hero now?
Yeah, we don't know. Have we seen him in ground combat?
No.
I mean, we've seen him sneaking
No.
around, but not.
All we know is that there's Kylo Ren and Rey,
Mhm.
and that come December when the movie comes out, we're getting the first DLC, and we're gonna get Finn and Captain Phasma. So it would be kind of weird to have Poe as a hero starfighter, but then he's not on the ground.
I could see it though.
Yeah?
I mean, I think otherwise they're gonna have to come up with a set of abilities for him, and he doesn't have any other abilities.
It's true. I just still find it's a little weird. Maybe what they're planning on doing is in the future, DLCs down the line, they'll add him in the game.
Could do
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Because I don't see him being a hero either.
Yeah.
Not yet. We have Kylo Ren's TIE Silencer, which is confirmed for Episode 8, The Last Jedi. It looks really sick. I tried very hard not to see a picture. And I didn't look at it really closely, but I've seen images just because they're part of thumbnails, which has driven me crazy. But so I kind of know what it looks like, and now it's in the game. So when we play, we'll know what it looks like.
We'll know. Yeah, before the movie comes out.
Yeah, it could be part of the Last Jedi DLC.
Oh, yeah.
It could be. I forget.
Which they would release around the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it was part of the trailer. So what the heck, like.
Yeah.
So we have Boba Fett's Slave 1, of course, Han's Millennium Falcon, of course, and Darth Vader's TIE Advanced. And he's in the trailer. He sounds, just from the trailer, he sounds more like Darth Vader than the last game. So
Okay.
I
got the voice acting down better.
hopefully, because in the last game, Darth Vader was probably the worst candidate out of all of them. It was atrocious how bad the voice acting was for Luke and Darth Vader. It was...
Shout out to those voice actors.
I'm sure they... Yep.
Yeah.
So, now, move on to the live stream. Just some thoughts. What I noticed just from watching it the first time, the HUD looks actually similar to the first Battlefront.
Yep.
There's the same scroll feed for the kill feed. And then for like the scoreboard, it's a little bit smaller. It's not as gaudy or like bubbly as the first game, which I'm glad, but it still has the same colors.
Yeah.
It's still red and blue. It's still, to me, the blue is too light. I feel like...
You want it a little darker?
Yeah, I feel like, okay, like this is like hardcore Star Wars space battles, and we're going to throw in this light blue color to throw everything off.
Yeah, but like blue is a traditional HUD color too, so it might not have stood out for a game maker.
I wish it was a closer blue like the original Battlefronts.
Yeah.
Because that blue is more
I
like...
get that. Like closer to like a royal.
Yeah,
or a
instead of like a
navy.
baby.
Not quite a navy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, minor criticism. I mean, it's not a huge deal. I'm picky with the HUD. I did not like the HUD for the last game.
Okay.
It's also different because when we watched the Assault on Theed, it was all black and white.
Yeah.
So my guess is that this build is further along, and so the blue and red will make it into the final.
Yeah,
game.
probably.
Another notable thing is that you can look behind your ship now. I don't know what it is on PC yet, but for controller, it's up on the D-pad.
Okay.
And you can look behind. We'll get into the hero abilities, but it could be cool to look behind your vehicle sometimes.
Oh,
Plus,
yeah.
especially if you want to know if someone's back there.
See who's on you, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna break down the game mode, and then go into more the starfighters, the hero abilities, all of that good stuff. So the way the game mode works, called Starfighter Assault, is like Galactic Assaults, in terms of the rebels have a set amount of reinforcements. There's no more time limit like the last game.
Okay.
So we have 3 phases. So the first phase, the rebels have to destroy 2 Imperial light cruisers that are defending the Star Destroyer. So the main objective of the game mode is to destroy at least for this map. It could be different depending on the map, especially for prequel.
Definitely.
But for this, the objective, destroy the docked Star Destroyer. And so that's going to happen in 3 phases. But a notable thing is that there are now side objectives while you're doing that first phase. So you want to destroy those 2 Imperial light cruisers, but the rebels also get blockade runners that will impact the second phase if they're not destroyed.
Yeah.
So the Imperials kind of have a decision to make. Okay, do I want to just defend the light cruisers
or target the blockade?
Or target the blockades? Because say you don't and you fail at destroying them, destroying the rebels, then they also have something that will impact the next phase and help them finish that one as well. Maybe you can do the second phase?
Yeah, so second phase is to destroy the 4 shield projectors inside the shipyard. And if those blockade runners aren't destroyed, they will fly inside and shoot the projectors as well.
Yep. So definitely you want to. It's already we're seeing. It's more like in depth compared to the last game. Mm-hmm. There's more things going on. It's more than just okay, attack this objective and that's it. There's multiple objectives. There's multiple things that you have to think about. Rather than just okay, I'm just gonna shoot stuff. Yep. So that's good. Also, the second phase, it will be a little bit more closer because you're going to be flying into that shipyard, which was part of the trailer. But so a little bit more closer combats could get kind of hectic. Kind of cool. So, but all right. So the third phase, we have the MC-80 Star Cruiser arrives to the Rebels, which is basically the equivalent of a Star Destroyer for the Rebels.
Yeah.
Obviously not as big, but they're comparable.
Yeah.
So that will arrive to attack the Star Destroyer. But first, the Rebels need to destroy the 4 couplings. And once you do that, that will expose the reactor on the Star Destroyer, but only for 30 seconds before it resets and you have to do the couplings again. The damage you deal stays, but if you don't, obviously you probably won't do it in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But so you have to just attack the couplings again, and then it'll open back up. Again, there's no time limit. It's only based on reinforcement. So if the Rebels have 150 and it hits 0, then the Imperials win. Personally, I like that way more than a time limit.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Part of the game playing for me is a bit like unlimited lives. You just keep getting going with original Battlefront, but that's a very interesting game mode. It'll make people think twice.
It's every life matters.
Yeah, it'll separate the audience a little bit. People may gravitate towards ground play if they don't like that. Yeah.
I mean, the ground combat is very similar now. It's very reminiscent of the original Battlefronts. Because usually instant action, you got into a standardized game mode was just 200 for each side. Once it hits 0, game over.
All right.
So that's why I like it. I'm a big original Battlefront fan. So to me, it's very reminiscent, and I like it more than a time limit. Time limits are good because obviously, these matches are gonna be 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think DICE can do a pretty good job. I'm sure they know how to tailor a game mode to last a set
an average amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna have it be 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
I would assume this will be 15 to 20.
If the game mode lasted 30 minutes, I would want like leaderboards and a ranked system.
Right. So again, probably not going to be like that. I would say a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Last thing before we move on, for that third phase, there's also more side objectives like Imperial turbo lasers and turrets. So first phase, you can see it's favoring the Rebels with added objectives
for Imperial starships to attack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the first phase, it favors the Rebels because they have more reinforcements, whereas the last phase is going to be harder for the Rebels because there's more things to do as the Rebels.
Yep.
So there's a balance there, which I think will help overall make each game mode last to the last round, of course, unless the team is really well organized and good.
Yeah, you don't just get shut down immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good that way. Matches last a decent amount of time. So, but again, it adds to the immersion of there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So it looks really cool. I think my first impression was it looks very similar to the first game, but I would say it looks better, obviously, what we've seen before.
Yeah.
In that it definitely, I mean, it's in space. Like, it's not just like a Death Star DLC. Like, I felt even that was rushed and it wasn't that good. This feels and looks really good. You have the planet below you. I would say it's like the Scarif DLC. I would say that space battle scene looks really good. Like, with the planet, and now with Battlefront 2 with the Imperial shipyard and everything, I think it looks really good, and I think overall it'll play a lot better. If you're a flying fan, I think you're gonna love it. Personally, I don't like flying as much. I'll probably play it a few times, but I'm definitely not gonna
be your main game.
Yeah.
Mode. Okay.
So, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Overall, it's crazy to think about how much stuff is gonna be in this game. I mean, granted, there are 3 studios working on it, but it seems like a lot.
Yeah, that was surprising. Like right before the gameplay played, it showed like
Yeah.
the developers and everything. I was like, oh, there's like a lot of studios working on this.
We got, EA is the producer. Obviously, they have the license for Star Wars games. But yeah, DICE, Motive, and Criterion.
Yeah.
3. I mean, Motive is more of a new studio, but they're very well known. The people who work for them for making story games.
Yeah.
And they're doing the campaign. And then we have Criterion, who is known for doing different racing games. So
Yeah.
it seems like DICE got the help that it needed.
Yeah,
I think.
they filled out each department as needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the starfighters themselves. We're gonna save the best for last. We're gonna save those hero starfighters and their abilities for last. So next, we're gonna do those starfighters. We have 3 classes, so similar to the ground combat, where we have 4 classes. But for starfighters, we're gonna get 3. They're gonna be the interceptors, the fighters, and the bombers. And we're gonna kind of break this down step by step and go over and give a description, go over what each faction has. And so we'll start. Maybe you want to start with interceptors.
Interceptors sounds good. So these are your fast ships, agile, and they're going to be a little bit of glass cannon. They're going to have a lot of damage output, not a lot of health. So we start with the A-Wing. It has a ability Afterburner, which is a speed burst, target lock, harder lock, even if they break line of sight. So they're going to be able to lock on even without seeing you, or because there is a lot of ins and outs of these levels, so it's going to be pretty useful.
So if you lock onto someone and you use that ability, it's a hard lock. Even if they fly behind you, it'll still lock on. So
okay.
you'll know. Okay, like this guy's going this way. You can still follow him.
Nice. And they have a concussive missile as well. So I'm sure that's going to result in a bit of a stun.
Yeah,
loss of ability use.
If you're familiar with the gameplay from Theed, think of Boba Fett's concussive missile. It's going to probably do less damage than a normal torpedo, but it'll my assumption is that it will disorientate the enemy fighter to a certain degree.
Okay. I can see that. So then we also have the TIE Interceptor, which has the same abilities. And star cards. Same for both.
Yep, same for both.
Yeah. Cooling systems reduces the amount of time it takes for you to get your blasters back after they overheat. 1.25 to up to 2 reduction multiplier.
Yep, and so that relates to the level of star card
that you have unlocked.
So the white or common star card will be 1.25, and that's a reduction. So say you have 10 seconds, it'll do a 1.25 multiplier to reduce that. So that will be, I'm really bad.
8.75.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
So up to 2. So you can kind of see where the microtransactions will come into play. If you're getting, if you have this equipped, you can have up to a 2-second reduction multiplier, which cuts it in half.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely something to consider. But as we go through these star cards, we'll list certain ones, and we'll probably highlight the key ones because certain ones definitely seem stronger than others. But these are certain things that are customizable to the starfighters, and that adds more depth to the gameplay and the progression, which is a good thing because obviously the last game lacked that.
Yeah, you can fill out your class the way you want. Advanced capacitors increase time to overheat your weapon by 0.5 up to 0.8, and I'm guessing that's a multiplier as well.
Yes.
Not seconds. Okay, so that's nice. You could go from if it took 10 seconds or whatever, it'd be up to 18. Nice.
Yeah, bad quick math.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it kind of gives you, the numbers are a little tricky. I wish that instead of the multiplier, they would just give you the time.
But it's not exactly time because that's if you're holding down the trigger.
Yeah.
That's not.
It's
Because
true.
you could be doing burst fire.
That's true.
So,
but it gives you a range.
It's probably actually a reduction on the heat output per bullet.
Yeah,
is probably what it actually is.
If you're thinking in technical game code.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no. So definitely. So, yeah, we'll go to the next one.
Okay, so then they're also going to have Fire Control Cycler, which will increase your fire rate by 1.1 to 1.25.
So it definitely is hard to comprehend the numbers.
Yeah.
But think of it, most of these are multipliers. So you'll go from 1.1 to 1.25.
Those are all interesting star cards, though.
Definitely.
Because you're gonna have to be to get the most out of them. Gonna have to be very active in using them.
Yeah. And that's important to note is that you can only have one of these selected at a time.
Yeah.
Think of it as for the ground combat, they had 3 star cards plus the class card.
Yeah.
Whereas the starfighters, they have the 3 abilities set, but that class card is these, and you can select one. So, say you really don't like overheating your weapon, you want to fire longer, then cooling system is for you.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to
The fighters.
The fighters. So we have the X-wing and the TIE fighters. So these are your basic, what you see in the movies, and they're actually a little bit different. So I'm interested to see how this balances out because it's hard when you have a certain aspect over the other faction on how you would think like the interceptors they would have the same abilities, same cars to make it balanced.
Yeah.
So as we go over the abilities, you can judge for yourself. The first thing the X-wing has is a repair or like a heal.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because as a basic, so no more shields from the last game. Instead, you'll get a heal.
And we saw that in the gameplay trailer. It was a droid heal.
Yeah.
Basically, came out and R2-D2 popped out of your ship and started fixing
So if you're familiar with Battlefront 1 and you played as Luke's Red 5, you had an ability that R2-D2 healed your ship.
Okay.
Now it's an astromech, just generic,
Yeah.
a boring, not R2-D2 unit.
Non-R2-D2.
But it's still a heal, and a brand new ability that we haven't seen before is called Weapon Overcharge. So for the X-Wing, you know how it has 4 laser turrets and it shoots, pew, 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 pew.
Yep.
What this does is that it basically doubles the lasers and you shoot out of all 4 at once.
Oh, okay.
So the thing with the X-Wing, though, is that you can control this, and you have a select amount of time where you will be shooting all 4 lasers at once. So, and then we'll go in the TIE Fighter next. The third ability is the proton torpedoes, which is both the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing has that.
Oh, okay.
So that's the one that's the same. But the thing that the TIE Fighter has is an afterburner, like the TIE Interceptor and A-Wing, which is a speed boost. And then it has laser barrage, which you can't cancel. So once you activate it, you start shooting like really fast.
Oh, okay.
But you can't cancel this, and your mobility isn't as good as say like the X-Wings is.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different. We'll see how that balances out. I'm interested to see. It's a lot different. X-Wing has more survivability, whereas the TIE Fighter maybe is a little bit faster. Which I guess thematically makes sense.
That's how they're going to balance it out. Yeah. Definitely.
So authenticity to Star Wars is important.
Yep.
So all right, let's go into the star cards. These are the same for both. We have tuned lasers, increases primary damage by a multiplier of 1.04 to 1.1. So if you're doing, say you do 100 damage to an enemy, if you have the epic tier of this card, you'll do 110 damage instead of in the same amount of time as someone without that card. So that is 10 extra damage.
Yeah.
So, as far as, is it pay to win? Are the microtransactions a problem? It's tough to say. Obviously, we had that discussion last time. But definitely numbers that are interesting. I mean, the common one is only 0.04, so you'll be doing 4 points of damage more for every 100.
Yeah. So
if you can follow that math.
Yeah.
So it is little. It still counts, but something to keep in mind. Next thing we have repair system. That this reduces the time delay for that heal. The next one is tactical jammer. The time for missiles to lock onto you. So from 1.25 to 2, and that's a multiplier reduction. So if someone is locking,
so your missiles.
No, the enemies.
Oh, enemies.
So say if you have this equipped and someone is targeting you with their ship, it will take longer for them to lock onto you with this card equipped.
Oh, okay.
So definitely some customization there that'll be interesting to see when you play the game.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, why am I not? Usually it takes this long to lock on. I know how that feels, but like, oh, this guy has this card equipped and it feels different. So something that will definitely add, diversity to the game, and it'll be interesting to see. You want to finish it out with the third class bombers.
Okay. So these guys are going to be slow, good for objectives, and have the highest health. The Rebel ship is the Y-wing, which we saw in the game trailer. That thing seemed pretty stinking tanky.
Mm-hmm.
Dual proton torpedoes, repair droid, and ion cannon turret. Obviously, we understand torpedoes, repair droid. It's going to be similar to the heel for the X-wing, and the ion cannon turret is automatically going to shoot for you in all directions. So that seems pretty good. To have an automated turret for you.
Yeah. So basically, the idea here is, quick overview. You know, we got interceptors. They're fast. They're good for taking out other fighters. We have the fighters, good, more all around. They're good at fighting others, but they're also good at doing the objective as well. Kind of your overall fighter. And then you have the bombers, which are the tanks. And from what we've seen or what I watched, it seems this class is the most OP.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell though, because mobility is a big thing, and these guys are not mobile. They're slow. They do have more health. They do shoot 2 proton torpedoes at a time. They can heal, and it has an ion cannon turret which automatically shoots for you. So if you have a guy in your back, you can throw this thing out and it'll start shooting that guy. And if he doesn't get off you, you're gonna kill him.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how this basically heavy class pans out, because it has so many utilities, and the TIE bomber is a little different. You can go into that.
Yeah, so it as well has the dual proton torpedoes, but it also has electronic countermeasures, which will cancel lock-ons from enemy players, and multi-missile lock, which fires 3 missiles with an automatic lock-on, but it still has lock-on time.
Yeah. So
it's almost a guaranteed lock-on.
Yeah,
essentially.
So what I got from this is that when you're playing and you use that ability, it will lock on, and then you press it again to shoot your missile.
Okay.
For this ability, which is the multi-missile lock, it will, once you press it, it will lock on to 3 enemies for you, and it'll automatically shoot those out. So it's a little bit more automatic. There's still a lock-on time.
Yeah.
But you don't have to press it again, and it shoots 3. Okay. Which is pretty crazy. And I don't think you have to lock on. Like, you could use it to, say, take on an objective.
Okay, so you could, it's flexible. You can just hit it and it shoots.
Right. So I'm not 100% on that, but it's still interesting when they have dual protons. Like, that's why these guys are so good at objectives, because they can shoot out 2 torpedoes at once, where any other class, they have 1.
Yeah, they were saying something at some point where, like, one of the ships had a total of, maybe it was 5, and that's what it's talking about. It had 5 missiles that could go out at once. Okay, but I think that I might have heard them say 10 with some special ability, or
maybe it's a hero.
Maybe I'm thinking of a hero ship. Yeah, but even there, 5 missiles all at once if you wanted to.
Yeah. So we can go into the star cards now. These are again the same for both. We have reinforced hull, increases total health, and this is a multiplier 1.25 to 1.4. Again, from common to epic. Rarity for the cards. Advanced capacitors increases time to overheat your weapon, which we've seen. Targeting computer, reduce time to gain a missile lock, so you can lock on to an enemy ship faster.
Yeah.
And the multiplier is 0.9 to 0.5. So that's pretty big at that epic tier. So say it takes 2 seconds to lock on. If you have the epic tier, it only take 1 second.
Take 1 second. Yeah.
So that cuts that time in half. That's pretty big.
That's pretty big. I also think the reinforced hull is a candidate. I'm not so psyched about the increased time to overheat your weapon, even though their overheat is probably even going to be longer than the other classes. Right. But
I agree, because the tank class is so immobile, someone can get out of your view very fast.
So fast that it wouldn't matter as much.
Right, so shooting longer doesn't necessarily help you compared to, okay, I can just have like a lot more health.
Have a lot more health or do a lot more damage fast with quicker lock-on.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that lock-on is already seeming like a better choice than a longer time to shoot, because you can lock on real quick, shoot your missiles, and you don't have to aim or worry
Never
about
mind,
it.
It's a reused star card from the Interceptor class.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost seems like they lobbed it in there.
There's definitely some that are similar. So Even like reinforced hull, as we'll get into, like the Millennium Falcon has that star card. So some of these have overlap. So interesting to see how they bounce out. And keep in mind, this is still alpha. So anything we talk about,
all this stuff can change.
It's subject to change. Just keep that in mind. So okay, we'll move into the hero ship abilities. Now at Gamescom we saw 4. In the trailer, there was more, but we didn't see that from the gameplay. What we did see was we saw Darth Maul's Scimitar, we saw Slave 1, Poe's Black 1, and the Millennium Falcon. We can start here with Darth Maul's. From the alpha, it was 1,000 battle points to pick a hero ship.
Okay.
So I don't know if that is because it takes longer to get points in this game mode compared to the Assault on Theed. Where it was 5,000 points for it.
5,000.
So, but that could be just a placeholder for alpha.
True.
Doesn't matter yet.
They could have also wanted a lot of people to be able to use them.
Exactly, because they really. What's interesting is that it was a live stream, but they didn't play the game mode live this time.
No, the commentary was live.
Yeah, but it was pre-recorded from these game changers ahead of time.
Yeah,
which was different because last time they did it live. Maybe
they could have done multiple takes because maybe they wanted people to get good at it. That way, you got to the third phase and finished it. They probably didn't want a game that ended in defeat.
Well, what they actually did was they enabled it so the rebels couldn't win the first 2 phases.
Oh.
And they did that for the Assault on Theed as well, and that basically is so for people going to Gamescom and waiting in line to play the game, it would really suck for them if they played it and then they lost in the first
phase, yeah.
So
that makes a lot of sense.
But my thought was maybe EA and DICE wanted them to show something specific, and they could do that a lot better with pre-recorded.
Oh yeah. I'm sure they took multiple candidates and then said, okay, let's play this game.
Yeah, exactly. So all right, let's jump into Darth Maul Scimitar. This ship I have to admit I had never seen before. I think it's in episode 1, but
it is. Yeah,
I don't remember it for some reason. Maybe I just blocked that movie out of my mind.
I think there's just a couple. I think there's a couple shots of it, not many. Like 2 scenes it's in. Maybe.
Okay. Well, regardless, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
So a notable thing about his ship is that his regular cannons, blaster cannons, overheat very quickly. But they also fire really quickly. So it's kind of like a rapid fire, but that's by default. So he has his 3 abilities are, his first one is Target Lock, which is a harder lock, and also you deal bonus damage when you're locked on.
Oh, nice.
So harder lock meaning if he goes behind you, I think like we talked about
with the
you'll still be locked onto him.
Okay, nice.
Yep. And then the next one is Stealth Drive, which from the trailer you see he goes cloaked, and he says, you cannot
kill a Sith.
Yeah, which we know he dies, but
Darth Maul.
but every time I watch the trailer, it still is like the most epic part to me.
Also, it's technically spoiler alerts for Star Wars Rebels Season 2.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I think people have seen the meme.
People already know, yeah.
People know Obi-Wan had the high ground. So the Stealth Drive is invisibility, and it avoids lock-on. And you get bonus damage out of stealth. So it's very RPG-like. You come out of stealth and you do, bonus damage. I don't know if they didn't.
Is it bonus damage continually out of stealth or when you come out of stealth? Like for a set period of time?
My guess would be that when you come out of stealth, it's for a certain duration after that.
Okay. Yeah.
We don't have specific numbers. Maybe, 3 to 5 seconds after the fact, you get that maybe 1.5 times damage.
Yeah, that seems nice.
Yeah. And then for your third ability, you have dual proton torpedoes, similar to actually the heavy class.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty strong, but especially for Darth Maul's Scimitar, because it's more of like a nimble, it's not as beefy as the heavier class.
He probably doesn't have, he has probably more health, but not as much as you would expect.
Yeah, because you look at his abilities, he has pretty defensive abilities. He has a stealth, and he has he just has a stealth, but that also avoids lock-ons. And you can stay stealth for a decent amount of time. You can fly around.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how that would work because I expected almost like like a 5-second stealth for a little, but no, it was like 20 plus. From some of the gameplay, it seemed like, or even longer.
So the gameplay, it seems like his play style will be more. You go stealth. You kind of reposition yourself. You find a target. Maybe it's another hero ship. Maybe it's a key TIE bomber or something, or not TIE bomber, X-wing or a Y-wing that you want to take out, and you get that bonus damage, and you can probably take him out really fast, especially because he has that quick fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'll go over the star cards really quickly. He has Deadly Ambusher. This increases damage dealt out of stealth. So like we talked about, it goes from 1.1 multiplier to 1.5. So it does do that 1.5 times damage at epic tier.
Okay.
You have cooling systems. It reduces the amount of time it takes to get your blasters back after overheating. This could be useful, especially because it overheats fast.
Yeah.
If you find yourself overheating a lot, maybe you like this card more because that time is reduced.
It could get you in and out of
especially
combat
because
real quick.
At epic tier, it reduces it by double,
By
so
2x.
but it's only half the time.
Mm.
And then the last one is Tactical Jammer. It increases the amount of time it takes for enemy missiles to lock onto you. Again, a defensive star card, so he probably won't have as much health, but he has defense abilities at his disposal.
Yeah.
That customization there. Okay, we can do Slave 1 next. You can do that last.
All right. First ability is Ion Cannons. They do reduce damage, but they slow enemy ships. So you'll have a little bit more control, little CC on the battlefield. Seismic Charges, same from the movies. No, I don't know what that is.
You know what the Seismic Charge is?
Is that when he was blowing up the asteroids chasing Obi-Wan?
Yep.
Okay, so they'll have some destructive ability to them as well.
Probably not.
Okay, never mind.
But if you remember from episode 2 when Jango Fett was chasing Obi-Wan.
Yep.
And then, well, actually, no. Forgive me. It was Obi-Wan chasing Jango Fett at first.
That's right.
And that's when Jango Fett was like, lose this guy. Let's drop some seismic charges. And that's when everything goes silent for like a half a second or so. And then there's like a big explosion.
Yeah.
And that's with turning, when you can look back with the camera now, as Jango Fett, you want to see that thing go off. It's cool. But even as like a enemy fighter to Jango, everything goes silent, and you're like, "Oh man, this is bad. everything's about to go bad."
Nice.
So, but it literally is the same from the movies from episode 2, which is awesome because that's my favorite ability so far. I think it's way better over Jango Fett from the first game.
All right, and then we have Concussive Missile.
Not Jango Fett. Boba Fett in the Slave one.
We also have Concussive Missiles, which singular. Similar to proton torpedoes.
But again, it's probably more disruptive than...
It's going to have a stun or something to it, yeah. Alright, and then his star cards are Heavy Seismic Charge, which increases the radius of your seismic charges by 175 up to 250 on the Epic star card.
Yeah. Which is pretty good. I mean, it just makes the explosion even bigger.
Yeah, makes it more useful. You'll affect more people. That could be a big swing ability if you got that.
And keep in mind, with a lot of these cards, the base card is already higher than default if you don't have that card. Yeah. So for this, my guess would be default would be the radius is 150. Mm-hmm. So at epic tier, you're gaining 100 radius.
Yeah,
that's a lot. So it could be way bigger. That's a pretty good star card.
Yeah. Reinforced Hull, which increases your total health from anywhere between 1.25 and up to 1.4 at the epic tier. Now, did Darth Maul have something like that?
No,
he did not. Interesting. So potentially be a little bit more tankier than you might expect. And then Cooling System reduces the amount of time it takes to get your blasters back after overheating. 1.25 up to 2 reduction multiplier.
So, again, we're seeing some overlap with the abilities. Cooling systems again, reinforced hull from the bomber class.
Yep.
But we'll move on to the surprising one next, the Pose Black 1. Now, this hero fighter is very, very surprising to me. It's pretty cool though, because notable things is that he has pretty low health for a hero fighter, but he has a healing ability, and he also looks normal. Compared to other X-Wings, like he looks the same.
Yeah.
So if you're chasing him, obviously he's black and orange, but he's the same size, so you might lose him amongst the other X-Wings. So maybe if you're piloting and you're with your teammates, that could be just almost like a camouflage to the enemies.
Yeah.
Some notable things I noticed from the live stream and gameplay is that BB-8 actually makes sounds, especially when you get hit. He'll do his cute little BB-8 sounds.
Yeah.
And I actually at one point heard Finn saying, "That's one hell of a pilot," which was pretty funny. I mean, obviously we know Finn's gonna be in the game, maybe not as a starfighter, but
yeah.
I thought I definitely heard it. It was pretty cool though, because obviously that's from the movie.
Yeah.
But it was cool to hear. Okay, so his abilities: BB-8, very similar to R2-D2 for Luke. He's the one who repairs his ship, but it's a very quick heal. I would assume it does a good amount of heal, but it's really really short as far as the amount of time it takes to heal.
Yeah, on the other I think it was a star card where you could quicken the heal on the X-Wings. It went as low as 3 seconds, so are we expecting even lower than that?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
I would say like a second heal.
Oh wow. Okay.
But that's just a guess.
Okay.
But yeah, I would assume it's a very quick heal. And I think I mentioned this, but the health bar on the HUD is a lot different. It's not at the bottom anymore. It's on the right side, kind of next to your ship.
Okay.
It's a little bit more clean as far as you don't have this big red bar at the bottom, which I personally like, because you got to feel more immersed in your environment. Same thing with the rest of the HUD. The rest of the HUD was a lot smaller compared to the first game, which the game looks so gorgeous even in space with the planet and everything. I think it's awesome because you don't have that ugly, big stuff HUD to block that.
Yeah.
His next ability is Black Leader. It's like Scan Pulse, but it's red, so it pulsates and it sends out that scan, and it marks enemies red. For you, and I'm pretty sure also for your teammates.
For your teammates as
well. That's why it's like a leader ability. It helps your teammates. I don't know how I feel. It's more, I guess it shouldn't always be about being selfish when you're a hero, but I almost feel selfish when I'm a hero, just get those kills. But this definitely discourages that, which is a good thing. It's more team play. It helps.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anything, it makes that ship stand out as more of a useful for your whole team.
Yeah.
Like if somebody can get hero,
yeah, exactly.
pick that one.
So I would assume there's going to be certain heroes that may seem more like a support class, kind of like the last game.
Yeah.
Which is definitely good. It gives diversity to the whole gameplay. And then his last ability is proton torpedoes. So maybe it'll be like the movie, and he'll just shoot like a ton of them in a row. But I actually didn't see that, how fast the
they
cooldown.
fired in game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of his star cards: Experienced Leader, increased duration on marked targets. So this is definitely tailored to him and his abilities, from 18 seconds to 24 seconds. So that mark, it'll be a lot longer.
Okay, wow.
He has tuned lasers.
24 seconds.
Yeah.
Being marked. Dang.
Yeah.
That could be that. I mean, that's almost the if you could time that with the 30 seconds you get after taking down the couplers.
There you go.
You'd know where everybody is the whole time. You'd know whether or not you could focus on stuff.
Yeah. So it may seem underwhelming, but I think when we play the game, if you have Poe on your team, you might maybe like, oh, this is actually super helpful. Like, yeah, I know exactly where they are.
You'll see where he's useful. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So just keep that in mind. It may seem underwhelming, but just wait. He has tuned lasers, increases weapon damage from 1.04 to 1.1, which again we've seen this in another class. Is definitely more of a, it's definitely more interesting because it doesn't have like a side effect. It's more just, okay, your primary damage is now more.
Yeah.
So interesting. And then his last one is Ferrosphere Paint, increases time enemy missiles lock onto you by 1.25 to 2. It basically, I think there was another one like this. It just has a cool name.
It got renamed because of the color of his ship, and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. It's like,
yeah.
I have a, my ship's black, so it's harder to target.
It gives you reason for the ability to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm probably not going to pick that ability, but
no, probably not. But all right, you can finish it off with the Millennium Falcon.
All right. So as we saw from the gameplay, the Millennium Falcon is the tank of the game. Like, that thing took so much damage. It's slow.
Yep.
I mean, that doesn't apply to cannon, but but moving around in the battlefield, it is slow, and super tanky. and it has a strong primary weapon.
Yeah. That is funny though, because obviously, like the movies, it's been known to be like the fastest ship in the
12 parsecs.
Right. So it is. I mean, obviously it's for balance reasons, but it's interesting to see how. I mean,
I think they just had the ability to choose between tank and or agility, and it does make sense. We have seen in many movies it taking damage.
Yeah.
You know.
So this thing, I mean, you have to think. It's like the previous game if you've played it. The Millennium Falcon is big.
Yeah.
When you're shooting that thing, like you're not gonna miss.
Yeah.
So the Millennium Falcon is gonna be really tanky. Like
it needs to be
because your maneuverability is definitely a lot lower than other ships.
But actually, for its first ability, Afterburner, it does get a speed boost.
It does.
So
that's
that'll be useful.
Yeah. So you want to save that when you're in a crucial situation.
Yeah.
But so you're not completely left out to just get killed.
Yeah. Then it has a weapon modification as an ability. It adds extra damage to your primary weapon with an extra turret, which that is sort of canonical because they do have multiple turrets.
Yeah, both. So all of a sudden,
you get it.
Luke
and Luke and Chewie jumps down in the
in the turrets, and you're firing both, which is actually like really really awesome.
That's pretty cool. And then you have concussion missiles or a missile as well. Onto the star cards, Wookiee Engineering, which increases the damage dealt with weapon mod. The ability from 1.2 to 1.8.
All right, so I want to just talk about this for a quick second.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, this isn't your primary damage. This is only when
when you're using that ability.
Exactly, but keep in mind at epic tier, it is 1.8.
It's almost double damage.
So not only are you already doing extra damage with the ability, but the extra damage you're dealing goes up to 1.8. So you're dealing almost double damage, which I mean makes sense. You have two turrets.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be dishing out pain.
Yeah. So also another ship that would be great to use during objective gameplay.
Yeah.
If you come into hit the reactor and or take out in that gameplay, what are the things inside?
The shield projectors.
Shield projectors. It could be very useful. Although I don't know if you can actually fit inside that.
I think you can, but
if you might sideways, like they do in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
They have so many players trying to.
Yeah, I mean they singing the Millennium Falcon went into the second Death Star. It'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. So then your third star card available is advanced capacitors. Increase the time to overheat your weapon from 0.5 to 0.8, which we did see on other things, but
like Slave 1. So the Slave 1 and Millennium Falcon are
comparable.
So balance wise makes sense. Maybe not as far as canon goes, because we know in canon the Slave 1 is pretty nimble.
Yeah.
But for a game.
But so is the Millennium Falcon in canon.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know. Did you went over reinforced hull?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think so. Oh no, I don't know if I did. Reinforced hull is the second star card we saw it on other stuff, up to a total of 1.4 increased total health.
So basically, you get more tanky. Reinforced hull is for the Millennium Falcon, Slave 1, and the Bomber class. Mm-hmm. So it's a very, very simple to understand star card. You get more health. I mean, maybe if you hate being targeted all the time when you're being the Millennium Falcon, just be more tanky.
Yep.
So that pretty much wraps up everything we learned from the live stream. Obviously, there's still a lot more to see. This is only original trilogy. My prediction, though, is that for the sequel trilogy is that we're still going to see X-Wings, we're still going to see TIE Fighters. Obviously, they're going to be updated a little bit. But for the most part, it's going to look the same. Mm-hmm. I think we'll probably still get, TIE Interceptors and TIE Bombers. We haven't seen that in the new movie yet.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be interesting because the game comes out before the movie. If they do look different, it'll be like, oh, hey, this is what a First Order ship looks like. Same thing with the Resistance. So it'll be interesting to finally see what those look like. And of course, I'm most interested in the prequel era because we'll get, we don't know what exactly Starfighters we're gonna get. We know we're gonna get things like the Republic Y-wing. Or the V-Wing, or we've already seen the Vulture droid for the CIS. Things like that, but we don't. There's gonna be three. There's gonna be 3 classes, and we're gonna have ships for each of those. So
Yep.
I think I wrote down just some of my predictions for the Republic. Remember from episode
okay.
3, I think it was actually there's 2 pilots for the Republic, but those big starfighters with like 6 wings almost. Like at the very beginning of episode 3, it's a space battle, and they're helping Anakin and Obi-Wan. If you don't know what it looks like, you can Google it. It's called
I know. I'm sure I've seen it. I'm just trying to figure it.
It's called the Reconnaissance 170 Starfighter.
Okay.
So if you don't know what it looks like, you can Google it. You'll know right away as long as you've seen the movie. And then we do know actually from EA's website there's new photos up there. There's a tri-fighter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it has like 3 wings almost with like a bubble in the middle.
Okay.
I had like a Lego of it when I was a kid.
All right.
So my prediction would be maybe that's more like the fighter class. Vulture Droid is the interceptor or like the really light class, and who knows what the heavy class is. But again, a ton of stuff to see still. I mean, there's 3 eras of like movies and gameplay that still we haven't seen. We've only seen original trilogy for space battles.
Yeah.
So there's more to be had.
Yeah.
So, any closing thoughts as far as the live stream? Your impression? Are you excited?
Yeah, definitely excited. I haven't done a lot of space battle or flight simulation or anything like that, so it'll be a completely new game mode to me. I do like driving games though, so I'm sure that'll be a little fun. Driving brawlers have always been a super fun game for me, like Twisted Metal. I mean, I've only played Twisted Metal a little bit, but like if anybody played Jack X Combat Racing,
definitely.
So not that it's exactly like that or whatever, but I think I'll have a lot of fun in the game mode. I think they show that there is a balance. I like the elongated gameplay through multiple phases of the battle. I think that will bring everybody together to, because to get to the next part, it's not just control point. Like that would be almost a pointless mode for space battle. I think you'll get a lot of people who are invested in that game mode and they focus on the objectives.
Yeah. One thing I noticed today after the live stream, at some point EA updated their website. They have, if you've been there, they have different drop-down menus. And so if you haven't been there, there's a section for single player, a section for multiplayer. They have a whole news section. They have a section for the forums. So under multiplayer, before you would just click on it and you would go to like a scrolling list of different key highlights that they had. But now, as we get closer to launch, we're going to see more in-depth things on their website. So if you go right now, you'll see a drop-down menu, and it now sections off different things in the multiplayer. You have, like the starfighters. You have the
game modes.
Game modes, yes. That was the biggest thing to me, is because we only know 2 of the game modes. We know there's going to be some type of hero game mode. We know there's going to be, just a combat game mode that's not of 20v20. So if you go there, they have Galactic Assault, Starfighter Assault, and then more coming soon. So just you can just see they're getting ready for things down the line. We are getting closer to November. Beta is little more than a month, which is exciting. Finally, everyone will get to try their hands on this game, and everyone will be able to give their input on it. So it's exciting. If you follow the game that closely and you want to check out the website, there's a lot of pictures. There's a lot of different things to look at, especially with vehicles. Now that we have space battles, they have every class of every fighter listed there, so you can check that out.
Nice.
So I think that's pretty good. We've been running pretty long.
Yeah, we're not an hour and a half.
But for a big event like this, I think it's normal.
Yeah.
If you don't like Battlefront, sorry, but we're gonna when it's a big event, we're gonna cover the game no matter what. We're gonna spend due time on it.
Never mind. It's gonna be a main game that we play.
Yeah.
We're gonna cover what we want to play.
Yeah.
So we do try to be like a general information source, but obviously we're gonna give more attention to what we want.
So, but I want to give you guys, a detailed list of what we learned today, because even from if you just watch the live stream, you're not gonna pick up all these things. You're not gonna know what the abilities are. So I wanted to do the research. I wanted to give you guys the proper information if you care about it. It'll be good if you're into Battlefront and are excited for it as I am. So. But that probably wraps up the show. We'll probably do. You want to do some
links and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously you can watch the show on Twitch. Right now we're bi-weekly on Mondays at 8 p.m. I think we were a little late today, but I think pretty close, like within 5 or 10 minutes. And we'll get better at that as we go on. So that's twitch.tv/Respawn Mondays. As well as you can find us on Twitter under Respawn Mondays. And our archive is on YouTube, and currently we're on iTunes through SoundCloud, so if you like SoundCloud, you can go to Respawn Mondays. But hopefully we'll be able to expand to Google Play within due time, so we'll be able to be accessed on Android as well.
Yeah, please give us a follow on Twitter, at Respawn Mondays. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We try to keep up to date with the social media, tweet out different things, especially if it's news. So give us a follow and check us out and
give us feedback on the show or whatever.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And if you want to leave a review on iTunes, that helps us out a lot. And it's free. We would love to hear your feedback. As far as the show.
All right. Then we also you can follow us on our personal Twitches and Twitters. I'm at on Twitter at Tolmaeth, TOLMAEITH, and same on Twitch, twitch.tv/Tolmaeth.
Yep. And I'm at NikkiGirl7. Girl is spelled GURL. You can also find my YouTube at Nikki Girl Entertainment. I try to do some PC builds. I have one up there right now on the new Ryzen. That's AMD CPU. And I might be doing some stuff soon, but otherwise, stay tuned.
Okay. So, for our outro, what else?
Did you want to do the giveaway?
Oh, okay. That's what you're thinking. We could.
All right, we're gonna commit right here on the show, guys. We're gonna do a giveaway. It'll 90% most likely be on Gleam. Common thing people do it a lot, but it'll help us out, help us to get the show out there to you guys. We want you to listen. We want your feedback. We want to get the information in our opinions out there. So this will help us to do that. Plus, we're just starting out, so if you want to, you have a much better chance of winning than someone else. So if you want a free copy of the game, look out soon for the Gleam giveaway. It'll be on our social media for a chance to win a copy of Battlefront 2.
Nice.
So, all right, guys, thanks for joining the show for our second respawn, your second respawn, and try not to die next time.
Always.
All right, thanks for respawning with us.
Thanks, guys.
Five pages of patch notes or show notes.
I'm gonna get a stapler because I've been keeping.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Still on camera, bud.
Yeah. 4 viewers, it's just the guys.
Yeah, it's just.